Hello! You watched me in other videos when I talked about other people and other places, but today it's my birthday. Happy birthday to you. So I thought I can talk about me. I think it's time for me to present myself. Hello, I'm Rachel and welcome to Smile English Stories, where you can listen to English in lots of different contexts. If I speak too quickly or too slowly, you can change the speed in YouTube. So, where am I from? I am from England, but I have lived in France since 1996. I have lived in France for about 25 years. And I have been living in the east of France since 2001. I have been living in the east of France for about 20 years. I grew up in the northwest of England. Have you heard of Liverpool or Manchester? I grew up not far from Liverpool and Manchester. I grew up in Lancashire. Have you heard of Lancashire? No? Yes? Maybe? Today, Lancashire has a good football team, Burnley Football Club. But in the past, Lancashire was famous for witches. And then it was famous for its chimneys. The cotton industry, where my great-grandparents worked. And then Lancashire was famous for Blackpool Tower, which is a little version of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. It was built by the sea in Lancashire, and you can go up in a lift and look through a glass floor down at the sea and at Blackpool. And you can go dancing in a ballroom in the tower. Lancashire is a pretty little county in the northwest of England. It has lots of historical buildings and lots of beautiful countryside. I have a younger sister too, so we grew up together in Lancashire. I went to school in Lancashire with my posh uniform and my very practical bag. I went to a school where the boys and girls were separated. I took a bus to go to school, a double-decker bus. And I was very busy in the evenings. I learnt to play the piano. I learnt to play the violin. I went swimming. And I was in the guides. I was a leader in the guides. And in the summer, we loved to go camping. I also liked drawing and painting. And I loved cake decorating. My parents had a sailing boat on a lake. So often in the summer, we went sailing in the Lake District. But when I was a little older, we started to go abroad. We started to visit other countries in Europe. We took a tent and we camped. So I visited France and Germany and Denmark and Austria. My parents still live in the northwest of England, but my sister has moved away from the north. She lives in the centre of England. Have you heard of Birmingham? Have you heard of London? I think so. Have you heard of Oxford? Yes. She lives not far from Oxford, where there is a very famous university. When I was 18, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what career I wanted to have, but I knew that in England we wanted women engineers. So I decided to go down to London. I decided to study in London for 4 years. I did a sandwich course. I studied, I worked. I studied, I worked. I studied, I worked. I worked for a company who made equipment for the Airbus, for the big planes. London was a great place to study. It was brilliant. You could visit London and you could go to the theatre or go to concerts. I remember going to Wembley Stadium. Have you heard of Wembley Stadium? Yeah, the big football stadium in London. Have you heard of Nelson Mandela? Of course, the old South African president. So you know that Nelson Mandela was in prison for a long time in South Africa. And when Nelson Mandela was freed, there was a big concert in Wembley Stadium, and I was there. I was very lucky. At school, I always liked languages. I liked French. I was quite good at French and German, but I wasn't good at German. And I remember the first time I went to a bakery in France. A bakery is where you buy bread. I went with my sister and we were very scared to speak French. But we bought our baguette and we gave the money, but I'm not sure if we got the right change, but we got our baguette. And when I was 14, I went to France for the first time alone, near Toulouse, in the southwest of France. I went to stay with a family. It was the school holidays. So with the family and a group of people, we went away on holiday for 2 weeks. We went to a rowing competition on the Tarn River, I think. So I listened to a lot of French, but it was very difficult to speak. But after 2 weeks, I started to speak a little and I started dreaming in French. While I was at university, I did one work placement in Germany, near Stuttgart in Germany. And I travelled from Stuttgart too. I went to Berlin. Have you heard of the group Pink Floyd and Roger Waters, the album The Wall? In 1989, the Berlin Wall was destroyed. It came down. And in 1990, Roger Waters did a special concert in no man's land in the center of Berlin. And I went. We don't need no education. And while I was in Germany, I went to the famous Munich Oktoberfest. And I went to Lake Constance, where they have a very big firework display in the summer. That was a really good summer. When I finished university, I decided I didn't want to work. No, I wanted to continue traveling. So I took 1 year off, a gap year, to travel. Because when I was at university and when I worked in the summer, I was paid. I got money. So I didn't buy a car like the boys. No, I put my money in the bank and travelled with my money. I travelled with 2 friends, 2 boys to protect me, round Southeast Asia for 6 months. We went to Hong Kong and China and the Philippines and Indonesia and through Malaysia to Thailand. And when I got to Thailand, somebody asked me to teach English in a school for 6 months. But I didn't want to miss India. I had always wanted to go to India. So I continued to India and Nepal with my 2 friends, flew home for Christmas, and then went back to teach English in Thailand for 4 or 5 months. And when I got back from Asia, my sister had finished studying. So we decided to travel together. And we went to America for 2 months. We crossed America on the Greyhound buses from the east in New York to the west in San Francisco. Fantastic. If you get the opportunity, you should travel too. But then I came back home It was time to work. I will tell you more in another video. So, now you know a little more about me. If you want more information to go with my videos, you can join the Smile English Stories Club. There is a link under the video in the description. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a like, and I'll see you next time.